Teen groups have often topped the charts, from the Bee Gees to the Jacksons. But currently, one brother and his 3 sisters are the biggest family group on this side of the Atlantic. The Corrs' journey to stardom began with Barons in the bedroom and led to runaway record success and stadium sellouts. From Dundalk to worldwide acclaim, this is their story so far. Not a lot of people will know this, but you have actually been a band for 10 years now. But where did the idea to actually form a band within the family start?
I was older than the rest of the girls, so I had I was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to get a band together. And so I was off doing being a session musician and playing with other various different people around Europe. And when I came back, I happened to meet with the man who's currently our manager, John Hughes. And John was involved in the casting of the Commitments film, and I told him about my sisters, and I suggested to him that I get them up to audition, and we did. We auditioned in a place called the Waterfront Bar in Dublin on the Quays, and we auditioned to Alan Parker and played 2 songs. I'm sure we were absolutely terrible, but that was exactly 10 years. That was exactly 10 years to the day.
Yeah, it's 10 years since we auditioned for the Commitments and met our manager. So it's quite special, really. Quite a feat, really, to stay together as a family for 10 years.
The idea to form a band was really just to try and get a gig with this movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we always had in our heads anyway, but I think that with the audition of the Commitments, it was like a chance to kind of get us up on stage. I mean, we hadn't even written anything at this stage. I mean, Andrew was 15, I was 16. So, I mean, we were all quite young, so it was kind of, you know, just get up there and try and play.
And this was the first time the 3 of you girls had met John Hughes, who was the musical director for the Commitments, wasn't he? Yeah.
I met the Corrs first in 1990. It was June 14. We were doing auditions for the Commitments. They were very young. I think Andrew was 15. They were pretty. They were very obliging. And they sounded great. Outside of that, they weren't anything like majorly different than anybody else. They didn't get parts in the movie. I'm gonna be wiping those
I think he's admitted himself since that he had never had any desire to manage a band until he saw you. But something really special unfolded for him that day. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, I think we all felt a connection. There was a chemistry between us, you know, and just in the fun that we had, first of all, and also we understood each other musically, I think, as well, and we understood. I think John, you know, knew that this was something that he'd love to work with.
I would run away. I would run away with you.
So the day was arranged. I would go and meet the family and the band officially. So I remember going to Dundalk. Jim met me. He said, we better go pick up the girls, Andrea and Caroline. I thought, fine. And we did, and we went to a school. And 2 girls came out in green uniforms, ties, and school bags over their backs. And I thought, wow, that wasn't quite what I had in mind. I thought I was going to meet, you know, stars. You forget they were coming from school.
I think there are very few people with a vision like John Hughes is around, and kind of the broad enough mind to say that you can take a family out of Dundalk on the east coast of Ireland and expose them to America and expose them to Australia and expose them to all over the world and have them be a success. I think that takes a vocation almost, and so that was really, I mean, he was absolutely the main thing.
When you look back on that, do you laugh?
Oh my God, yeah. You have to laugh. I mean, oh God of Almighty, when I look at today, I laugh. Every day I generally laugh at the way we are. I think we're quite comical. But particularly back then. Particularly, I mean, like being so young and so into it. You know, if you ever look back and you see yourself kind of grooving, I'm kind of cool.
you know, and no, it's not happening.
Trying so hard.
No.
What about the way you looked then?
Big hair.
Very funny.
Big hair and chubby cheeks. That's the way I looked.
'Cause we are so young now. We are so young, so young now.
Like, if anybody looks back at the 80s, it was hilarious. I mean, everybody had a perm. Everybody's hair just looked wrecked. It was awful, and the makeup with the, you know, just permanent blue eyeliner. It was awful, but at the time you thought you were beautiful, so, you know, it worked.
'Cause we are so young now. We are so young, so young now.
Because you and Andrew were so young, it was really important that your parents supported you as a group. And they really did, didn't they? I mean, without that support, you probably wouldn't be here today. Would that be fair to say?
It's very true. It's very, very true. They supported us in every way, you know. Love, encouragement, financially as well, at a certain stage.
Which parents are always good for.
Yes.
Yeah, but not all parents, because understandably, a lot of parents would be slightly discouraging about the siblings getting involved in this business for obvious reasons. But because our parents had been involved in the business themselves, so we grew up in that whole musical environment with them, they were much more encouraging, I think, than the average parent would be. So we were lucky.
So when John said, right, I want to make this band a band, what kind of happened next for you?
Let me see, I moved home from Dublin. We started writing and recording. I bought some equipment, little small 8-track, and set it up, and I rented a house and set all the equipment up in a little bedroom studio, and we started writing and recording there.
Because I'll have you. I want you now more than ever before.
The first couple of songs, I'm sure we wouldn't listen back to them. I'm sure they were terrible. But we tried to come up with a unique sound, and we'd all been over the years been influenced by traditional Irish music, by rock and by pop, and so it was kind of obvious to us, and it was very quickly that we came up with that sound.
Say it's true. There's nothing like me and you. I'm not alone. Tell me you feel it too. And I would run away. I would run away. Yeah, yeah. I would run away. I would run away with you. 'Cause I'm falling in love with you. No, never. I'm never gonna stop falling in love with you. Close the door, lay down upon the floor, and by candlelight, make love to me through the night. 'Cause I have run away. I have run away. Yeah, yeah. I have run away, run away. I have run away with you.
You must have been quite confident in your abilities to actually believe that you could sit down and write music, because not everybody has that in them. You must have known instinctively that that's something you could do.
I don't think we did know. I think that we tried, and I think you know, any songwriter will say, you know, that you know, practice makes perfect, and you just keep writing. We didn't know. I mean, I didn't know at a young age that that we could write. You know, obviously Jim had a little bit more experience because he was older, so, and he was encouraging in that way for all of us to, you know, write. And you know, like at 16, I mean, how are you going to know you can write a song? You don't know. So I mean, we just kept working at it together, and just got better at the songwriting.
I give my word to you. Send her away to her grieving. I will never set you free. No more life without
very first gig as the Corrs? Waterfront.
Yeah, it was the same place we auditioned in, wasn't it?
Really?
Same place we auditioned in,
Yeah.
It was the Waterfront.
In Dublin.
And it was one of the most nerve-wracking gigs we've ever done because it was to our family and friends, and it was quite an intimate gig. It was only about 200 people.
Their first gig, the Corrs.
It's very hard to play in front of people that know you very well, and I remember that on that occasion, it's the only time that I've ever done it, but I actually got sick physically twice before I went on the stage.
I remember we were all nervous, and nervous for each other, I suppose. But it's the first gig, you know, we'd never done it before. It was weird. To get 200 people to your first gig is pretty amazing. And we bribed them. Put them on a curry afterwards. So with the first gig out of the way, you then had to start about building a reputation for the band with a view to getting a contract with a major label. But it didn't come quickly, did it?
No, it didn't. We had a few disappointments. We'd been writing for quite a while, and we had the interest of one particular label in the UK, and what we heard back from them about what they said about our demo sounded very, very encouraging, and they sent 2 people over to see us. So we set up just in a little rehearsal room. We set ourselves up a little bit of a showcase.
Yeah.
And we did our best, which obviously wasn't good enough because they went away, and it was very encouraging then, and then we heard nothing back from them, which was quite a blow to us. But we still carried on, you know. I think that's why we're lucky that there is that bond between us, you know, because we're family, that enable us to overcome those obstacles that come in your way.
As she goes searching for the man long forgiven, but not forgotten. You're forgiven, not forgotten. You're forgiven, not forgotten. You're forgiven, not forgotten. You're forgiven.
We got together with John Hughes in 1990. And basically 5 years later, we started making the first album. So it did take 5 years to get a record deal. Although at the time it didn't seem like it, because we had so much to do in the meantime, and we had to write songs. We had to become good at writing songs. We had to become better on our instruments. So those 5 years were used up very well, even though it was very laborious for us and very frustrating. I think it was very worthwhile time.
You're not forgotten. No, you're not forgotten.